Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. Can I bring you back to order and introduce the first speaker of this afternoon's session, which is José Borbinha from the University of Lisbon, who's presenting a presentation by him and Diogo Proença entitled Harmonizing Model-Based Approaches to eArchiving. José, it's all yours.
So in fact, I'm going to share the presentation with István. And the work we prepared here for you, it's also at the support of two other my colleagues, Diogo and Sergio. They cannot be here. So this is what we'll try to explain to you. So in the e-archiving community, in the initiative, we made a long time ago one thing that we call it the Knowledge Center. So the Knowledge Center can be a very interesting resource for you to visit. Some of the information there is we don't use it often anymore, but it's not outdated, it's historical, and it is very important. And but those two things, they're still active, okay? So this is what you call the reference architecture and the maturity model. So now we are going to explain you what we mean by that. So, for both the things, there is a database with the pages that you can interact, but there are also PDF documents, okay? So those things resulted from work from our previous project, so we can go there and download the PDFs and see that comfortably. So one of the PDFs is this report that explains in detail the maturity model. So of course, I'm going to be very brief here now. So what is this thing of maturity models? So this maturity models is a concept that if you Google today, you get millions of hits because it's in the engineering and business world, it become a very normal concept. But I'm not sure if everyone understands what it means, okay? So in fact, there is some scientific background on this. You can trace to the late 50s, so about 70 years ago, that we can find the first scientific papers and even dissertations discussing about this concept. So the concept of a maturity model, so there is a misunderstanding on the concept of maturity. So people usually understand that if someone says, I do something in a very mature way, that probably it can mean two things. So one is that I believe I'm doing it very well and I'm the best in the world of doing that. I'm the champion, but that's not scientific, right? That's just I'm selfish. And I have a good impression of myself. From the scientific side, it means that that person that claims that is doing something in a high maturity level is aware not only about how he's doing that, but also how the others do those things. So maturity is always, so every time we talk about this, we all talk about maturity levels. So it means that when we speak about a specific thing, we understand that in the society, there is a state of the art of doing that. And so it means that in very simple model, if I am aware of that, so I can self-assess myself and gain my consciousness that I am either below that state of the art, I am aligned with the state of the art, or I am above the state of the art. Say, okay, humankind is saying something that's good, but I know more than that. That I am above. So that, I mean, I'm on a high level of maturity. So the maturity models basically deal with this. So when we go to a specific business area or scientific or engineering area, if we are able to establish what is the state of the art, then we can build a device to measure the maturity of organizations, people, groups, processes, etc., against to that. So that's where the maturity levels. So basically you say, so which of maturity levels, they have those 5 levels, and the level 3 is the average. So that's why you have, for example, the capability maturity model for software engineering that most of the business nowadays require to their providers. They say, I only make a contract with you if you are CMMI 3. Or if you are CMMI 3, gives me some confidence that at least you have project management, etc., etc., so I can rely on that. So this is the story. So here in eArchiving, we decided to try to make a few years ago a maturity model for the case of if you are an archive, a long-term archive. So if your business is a long-term archiving, and if you believe that what we propose in eArchiving are good guidelines for that, then we have a metrics for you. So you can self-assess yourself what is the stage where you are, and you can use that to make your decisions. Or if you have questions, you can come to us and we will help you understanding that. So that's our maturity model. So by the way, that was part of the doctoral dissertation of one of the authors, Diogo. So he did that a long time ago. And of course, we use that knowledge to make the maturity model. So basically, so this is what I just explained to you. So that's the ladder of the maturity models. And we have 6 dimensions in our model. And we have those levels. So you see the size of the blue. So it means that, so we have a spreadsheet. You can fill in the spreadsheet. And the output of that are things like this. And so it tells you, here you are at this level, there you are there. And what is important is also shows you the next steps. So if you are in a specific level and you want to answer the question, okay, how can I improve myself? So the model tells you, okay, now after this, you should do this and that. And also tells you something very interesting, is that if you are not on the same level in all the dimensions, so it means that you have another kind of problem, that is you are misaligned. You say, okay, so please don't improve the dimensions where you are already high. You should improve dimensions where you are low, because probably you are wasting resources. So you are spending too much resources in things that you are already doing well, while you are not doing so well in other dimensions. So a good example is that if you have a very good preservation strategy, very good technology, but if you don't take care about the upstream, so if you don't take care of what your producers are delivering to you, so your work is useless, right? Because you are receiving contents that is not in good shape. So that's just an idea. Yeah. Spanish arrows are not working properly. So as I said, we have this spreadsheet and all of this that you can fill in. So you can get all this from the knowledge center. Now, another thing we've been doing in parallel with this is that in many countries, in many big organizations, also there is a good practice of one thing that we name enterprise architecture. So enterprise architecture is a set of techniques that helps an organization or even a government to manage the alignment between the business and the technology. So it's there is a set of best practices on that, a large body of knowledge. And also because we try to address also governments, so what is done in countries, many states are doing enterprise architectures. We found it a good idea to develop what we name the reference architecture of eArchiving. So using the same techniques that we believe can be used by those national agencies to say, okay, you are speaking something I can understand. So I'm a computer engineer. I don't understand anything about digital archiving, preservation, etc. But you are using here some language that I can understand. Or I'm an enterprise architect. So that's the best practices you have been trying to use. And István is going to explain you that. I'm sorry. So the arrows are very sensitive. Be careful.
Okay.
They are Spanish.
So he said that. The other model that's available at the E-ARK Knowledge Center is the reference architecture. The core of the reference architecture is a set of Archimate views. Archimate is a diagram language designed to define and describe enterprise architecture through diagrams. But diagrams are not everybody's favorite, so we have extended the model with textual descriptions too. The eArchiving reference architecture aims to help our stakeholders, data producers, archival institutions, solution and service providers to helps them to position where they are, their digital archiving processes, their software, their services, according to, actually this is a reference point, a reference architecture what they can use. It also helps us to position our E-ARK specifications, our software, our use cases, and it's completely standards-based. I think that the first version was published at the end of 2021. We've created an online appearance to it too, because pure Archimate is just a set of architecture elements and views that doesn't allow document-like extensions. For modeling and diagram enthusiasts like we are with José, you can download the original model from the online version. In this first part or first version, we were focusing on the strategy, business, and application layers, as well as the so-called motivation aspects that cover elements like stakeholders, drivers, goals, principles. The online format provides us with several options that the pure Archimate view cannot offer. So we extended the model with a full principles document. We have defined it's called Principles for Long-Term Accessibility of Information. That's a full document, describes our 12 principles in detail. We have business scenarios using the business layer elements, application scenarios, real-world application scenarios, using, or application layouts rather, using the application elements and the introductory part, documentation part, glossary sections, download sections. So in the first project here, we had two goals, align our reference arc in these two. So until now, I was talking about the past, and now in this project here, now I'm talking about the near past. So we had two goals, aligning it with the maturity model and aligning it with the archiving by design approach, about what I will talk two sessions later, two presentations later. So very shortly, please.
Yes, yeah. So as István said, in the end of the previous project, we had our own reference architecture representation. So this was an XML file that was produced by one tool, and then one rendering by a tool that could understand that data, make those diagrams. So the tool that we use is a tool that is named eArch. It's a freeware tool. It's a very nice tool for this purpose. There is a group of French guys that did it and are maintaining. It's very, very good. Very easy to, it's like it's an editor. It's very easy. So you can download, you can use. So it means that if you go to the College Center, if you download our XML file with the reference architecture, you can also install that tool and you can see it. Okay? But that was the work of lots of people, and we realized that there was a lot of information there that might not have been in the best way. So there are, for example, elements that were duplicated, sometimes a slight difference in the name in two different diagrams. They created two different entities, and also some problems in reference. So we made use of course, in my university, we teach this, okay? So we do research on this. So one of our colleagues made a tool to clean up models like this and to manage model like this. So this tool is Atlas. So we have access to this tool. We can use it. Also, if you want to use it, we also can find for you, can give you an account in the cloud. And this tool is very powerful because it can import those models and okay, now speaking fancy, it has some artificial intelligence techniques. So I could not give a presentation without saying that. That goes to the models and did some digging around and tries to understand where things might not be properly aligned. So it gives hints, and that as a support for us to clean the models. So we did that. So, and probably now you can explain the result of that, right?
Yeah.
So the tool supports a workflow that imports models and supports an interaction with the user to say, so the user can say, okay, clean up this, clean up that, etc. So it's quite efficient. And then for that, we were able to simplify a lot of models. So this is not yet online, but it's going to be those models, but in the future, right?
So what have we done? I hope that you cannot read what's there because you're not expected. We don't want to go into details. It's just a visual illustration. So this is our starting point. That's what we start with. And then what we've done is we took the maturity model and the reference architecture and tried to harmonize those. The yellow one, the green ones are new to the model, but appeared in the maturity model. The gray ones are were in the model, but were not in the maturity model. So heavy debates, heavy discussions, and after that, we consolidated the model. In this case, the big gray thing is quality assurance within the ingest process. This is the ingest process, and there's quality assurance, and we have put a lot of things there. But after this alignment work, there was a simplification of the quality assurance, and we left the inner details open to interpretation in any given scenario. So we don't want to dictate that these are the things you should do. We moved everything that was inside into the documentation part as options. We could think of these and these and these things, but you don't have to do that. It depends on your implementation. The other thing that the maturity model didn't say anything about quality assurance during the ingest process. We are talking about virus checks, fixity checks, check whether the SIP corresponds to the transfer agreement, these kind of things. So this part had to be added to the maturity model requirements. That's what you can hear. So this was the work we've done. And so this is the final version. We will have separate slides for the maturity model to use together with the maturity model. This is an example of that. This is the final arrangement of the ingest process. It shows you the levels, the maturity levels, and shows you the requirements of the maturity model corresponding to each element of the reference architecture on this ingest view. Some of the views needed very little modification. This example is preservation planning. The other end of the scale is access. Access was so huge and complicated on the left that I could hardly fit into this diagram. And you can see that as a result of this work, we could significantly simplify it. A few words about our future plans. We are planning to publish 2.0, so a new version, by the end of this year, or the latest, the beginning of next year. We will include these simplified views. So the original views have been simplified. We will have those ones, and we will have additionally the maturity model views that speak with the maturity model, and that's right, and more. And what's more, I will talk about in the next presentation. So the presentation after this presentation, when we talk about the alignment with the reference architecture with the archiving by design approach. Thank you.